We are back for another episode of the Mystic in Training podcast with me, Melissa Amos. We are diving straight into the very important, one of maybe the most important topics that we can discuss when we are mystics in training, when we are the sensitive souls, when we are the ones that pick up what's going on in the outside world, when we are the ones that want to hold that coherence and be in that peace and be the light that makes the difference in the world, when in reality, it's probably the hardest thing to do. In reality, the sensitive ones are the ones that tend to more naturally be pulled into the heavy energies. The sensitive ones tend to get more overwhelmed. When actually, when we know what we're doing, this energy sensitivity can become our superpower. Now, for me, it took me a long time to understand exactly what my energy is doing. It started with this psychic ability and channeling Reiki and understanding that, yes, I can pick up on energy, which, as we discovered last week, yes, is a superpower, but also when you're trying to navigate real life becomes something that's not so easy to handle. Or energy hygiene is one of the most important things that we can learn and we can do. And there are a million different ideas out there about what is possible, ranging from the everything's out to get you to, well, it's all just spirits, all just love and light. And my truth sits, you won't be surprised, bang in the center. My truth sits with both of those theories. And my truth comes from that through experience and through what feels like a lifetime of trying to understand and actually embody what it means to be this walking frequency of light. Now, for me, energy protection goes beyond creating an energy bubble around us. And we began to speak about this last week, about the vertical and the horizontal ways of channeling energy, if you like, and where we're picking our energy up from. Last night, I went to see Tony Stockwell in a mediumship demonstration, and it was incredible. And there was a lot of other energies around there. And actually, it was a really interesting juxtaposition to be in, because on the one hand, for the group I was with, I wanted our energy to be open so that the chance of one of our spirit friends coming through was higher. And on the other hand, there was a lot of energy going on in there. And, you don't want to pick up on people's grief and on people's expectation and on the kind of quite chaotic energy that was in there. So what's the solution? Well, we start to understand that our energy is our most important resource, because it is, and it goes beyond the energy bubbles. Actually, if we start to think about what our energy actually is, when you think about our auric field, it contains everything that we have experienced. I would say its dominant frequency is what is happening in the moment. There's a truth to that. But it's comprised of everything that we've experienced, everything that's happening in our body, even the things that we're eating, the things that we've been feeling, the experiences and the beliefs that we've had, the traumas that we've had, the understandings that we've picked up in life, the expectations that we have, all of the desires that we've ever put out in the world. You can imagine this energy field that sits around us as this living, breathing vortex. When we begin to understand that and what our energy body comprises, we can begin to understand how the energy, in quotes, outside of us interacts with us, because like does attract like. And whatever is raising dominant in our field is essentially what is going to be most prominent in our experience. And we know this, right? When we're feeling agitated and we go for a drive in the car, guess what? Everyone's cutting you up, right? You get stuck at every red light everyone's driving like an idiot. And I'm sure they're not. But that's our experience that we begin to tell ourselves. And this is a literal example of how our energy body is influencing our outside world. Now, the trouble with using energy protection, so saying, well, I'm going to just be protecting my energy bubble, is one, it will just cling wrap everything that is already within there. So if you're having a bad day and you put your energy protection on, you're cling wrapping everything inside that energy bubble so that it's not really going to transmute, right? It's not really going to change. You're setting the tone. It also means, and here is the clincher, it also means I'm scared of what's outside of me. That is the subtle underlying thing that we are telling ourselves. The outside world is dangerous. I must cling wrap myself so nothing can get in. Why would we want nothing to get in? Because outside isn't safe. Now, yes, there is truth to that. And I must admit that last night when I was sitting in the auditorium with listening to Tony, and there was a man behind me who kept coughing and spluttering, and I could feel his energy. And I think his partner was feeling a bit apprehensive. And I put behind me a little bubble up because I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that in my field. But it's understanding that we're not doing it from fear. The key understanding here is I am in control of my energy body. And if I am connected to fear, if I am, oh my God, I need to protect myself because everything's out to get me, what I am putting dominant in my field, the frequency that is literally holding me is, I'm not safe. And guess what kind of experiences we begin to have? Experiences of not feeling safe. And I don't think that that's really a conducive way of living. And we can go into the whole psychological implications of that, but you intuitively understand, right, that this isn't a great way to be navigating our lives. So what's the solution? Well, for me, it's understanding that in any one moment, there is a whole myriad of frequencies happening around us. Everything from, even if I take last night, for example, everything from grief and anxiety and doubt, all the way through to love and enlightenment and peace. And in some way or another, they are all there. And our job becomes to acknowledge the frequencies that it is that we wish to connect with. Now, there's two things going on there. There's one is that in the moment, the one thing in the moment is to go and to understand that I'm sitting here and I could have either last night attuned to the fear and the grief energy, or I could have attuned to the love and the curiosity and the excitement. And actually, to what Tony was connecting into was this energy of pure love in spirit. That was my choice. And when we make it a conscious choice, our energy body will follow. And I will promise you this, that is the greatest form of protection that we have, because then we are creating a coherence in our energy field. We're creating an alignment, if you like, in our energy field to that energy, which means that anything that sits below it is less able to stick to you. It's almost like it's less able to see you. It doesn't have the cogs that are able to connect with it. So in a nutshell, the whole thing that we hear about just be a love and light is true, but there's a but, there's a big but, and there's an and. It's not always as simple as that, because what did I say at the beginning? Our energy body is comprised of all of the things. And unless you're super lucky, or super enlightened, then you've probably got a whole load of things going on in there. There is probably elements of, if you like, lower energies, right? The fear in there. We're all scared of something. We still hold the energy of shame around things. We still hold the energy of despair around things. We've had harsh words be said to us, or that we have said, which we've kept hold of, and they sit there in our energy body, and they will continue to sit there in our energy body until we do something with it. Unless we let it move through us, it's going to go, all right, we'll stay here. We'll stay here until you can accept me and love me and transcend me. It's going to keep on going. And so we can begin to understand that as we're walking through the world is responding to us with our everything. Now, all the while that's unconscious, it's just going to default to whatever's most prominent. You've just had an argument, or you've just been frustrated. That's what's going to be the most prominent thing in your energy. And so the world is going to respond to that. Once you know that, and you can come into the acceptance of, you know what, I've had a bad morning, this made me mad, or whatever it is, this got me triggered. Our first job is to understand that there's no point going, no, love and light, oh, because this energy is not going anywhere. If you just bypass it, it's just going to sit there and go, okay, cool, like, let's deal with it later. And how will it deal with it later? The world's going to keep responding to it until you do. And so it's not as easy as, well, I'm just going to connect with love and light and it's all going to go away. It's the understanding of what lays within me, what lies within me. How do I become more in that energy of gratitude? How do I become more in that energy of acceptance? How do I become more in that energy of love? Through truly looking at who I am, through truly witnessing what it is that's going on with me, through truly understanding my triggers, through truly understanding how I walk through life. And the outside world is a really great way of seeing that, because the outside is responding to the inside. Please don't hear that as, well, I create everything and so it's all my fault. That's not the point. The point is we begin to truly understand what are the repeating patterns, what always seems to be happening to me, what always seems to trigger me, and where am I trying to bypass it or logic my way out of it, or not feel it, or get angry with it, or push it down, when my job actually is to look at it and in what way can I find acceptance of it. Because as soon as we do that, as soon as we breathe into it, as soon as we create this space around it, well, then the energy can do what it needs to do. The emotion, the energy emotion can begin to move through you. And it doesn't need to be that repeating pattern. We can begin to, if you like, discharge rather than hold everything in there. And one way we can do that is look for evidence of love, or look for evidence of gratitude, both within us and outside of us. We can use the outside world to go, I can see this frequency of despair that's going on. Where's the love in this? And there'll always be one. There'll always be someone there if you look hard enough, or something there, which might just be the energy of the rose, or the oak tree, or another human, or a little plant that's over there, or the sunshine in the sky, or in your breath with a fresh breath of air. And our energy bodies are so clever that in the moment we can bring our attunement, if you like, into that energy. We can hit the tuning fork, metaphorical or physical, and let it change our energy. But we can't do that until we acknowledge where we are. We can't do that to kind of make it all go away. We have to do that with this consciousness. And that, my friends, is the path of the mystic in training. To truly understand what's going on in here, to truly take ownership of, this is my energy body and this is my responsibility. And I'm not going to just let it be unconsciously triggered all of the time. That my job is to acknowledge and understand and appreciate where I am now, and to bring more of that energy of love, because wherever you are, it is in there somewhere. It is in there somewhere. That energy of soul, it's only ever a breath away, should we wish to take that breath. And so, my dear friends, our best form of protection, turns out, is love. And it's that deep, sovereign, graceful, compassionate depth of love that we all have access to somewhere. So that we walk into a room knowing who you are, knowing and automatically, if you like, searching for the highest frequency that's in the room, which, by the way, might become you. And knowing that that is always there to align with you. That's always there to anchor you, even when times feel hard. And then we can cling wrap all we want if we want to, but we'll find that we don't need to anymore. There'll be times for it. There certainly will. There'll be times when you don't want to do all the heavy lifting on your own. There'll be times when you might be in deep ceremony, where you might be in some really funky places, where you might be less conscious, because we can't all be like fully conscious all of the time. Our default is like 5%, maybe 10. And so there's space for that. And for example, I will wear certain jewelry to help anchor that for me as a reminder and as a tool to help anchor that frequency that I wish to keep through the day. There's certainly times where I will start thinking whatever it is, and then I'll be like, oh, clear, cancel, delete. Don't want that going on in my while, because it's something that we can do there in the moment. There's 100 times a day, if you're ever with me, that you'll hear me take a deep breath in and then sigh it out to settle my nervous system down when I realize that I might have been holding my breath. There's times where you'll notice me tapping on my EFT points because I can feel that my body is responding to certain things. There's times where I will put the cling wrap on me and around me, because in the moment I don't have the capacity to just tune into love. So you see, there's room for both. But the path, the way forward, the way to stop relying on spiritual protection in the way that we're taught it or often told about it, is really to take ownership of your energy and to understand, like I said at the beginning, your energy is your greatest commodity. And it is always within your responsibility to be able to change that. And this is where the spiritual inquiry comes in. This is where the softening comes in. This is where the allowing yourself to be held comes in. This is where having a spiritual community that you can lean into comes in. This is where having your practice, working with your guides and your angels, connecting to source, being honest with how you feel, doing the nervous system regulation, all of those things, they all have a space. And in any moment that you can tune into love, that is always going to be the highest form of energy management that won't ever fail. So why don't we bring it all together now? What we learned last week, the last episode, with this. Let's do it. I'm doing it now. I'm about to go out from here, go and face the big wide world. So bring your hand to your heart. I'm finding myself just kind of gently circling over my chest. If that feels good, you can do that as well. Inhale really deep and create that vertical connection. So inhale from deep within the earth, get that nourishment, that groundedness, and let that energy go all the way up through your spine, up into your crown and out. And then on your out breath, exhale from the heavens and bring it all the way back down to the roots. And feel that circuit beginning to form, breathing in from deep in the earth and breathing out, letting the energy of the heavens come, fill you up on the out breath, drenching your cells. And then just ask, what do I need right now? What energy is going to be my home frequency today? Just let that come. Maybe it's peace, maybe it's trust, maybe it's love, maybe it's joy. Just trust that. And if you don't know, pretend you do. Pick one. Just notice it as a color, a frequency, a shape, a word, and let that energy, let that frequency fill you up right now. Be filled with the energy of love, of joy, peace. And that's it. You can seal that in with an affirmation. I'm filled with love. I'm filled with joy. Every step brings more joy into my life today. And then go, knowing that your energy is strong and coherent and protected. And if you find yourself wavering or wobbling through the day, come back, do this practice again. So next time you feel drained, next time you feel overwhelmed, don't have to rush into the shielding. You don't have to rush into the hiding. Just tune in. Return your frequency to love. Return your frequency to coherence. Return your frequency to what it is that you need that day. And notice how the world meets you differently. I will see you on the next episode of the Mystic in Training podcast.